good afternoon, you beautiful human being. How are
Hello,
you?
I'm
Hello,
good.
hello,
You?
hello. I am tired, but other than that, I'm all right. People who are watching and may not know real quick, just please introduce yourself. That would be lovely.
My name's Tom Townsend, and I work for Luke Hinton, Juicebox.
Yeah. How did you because obviously like I'm quite late to the party in this sense. I got hired from this room here. How did you
Yeah.
come into contact with Juicebox? And the role
Um,
that you have now, was that your first role or something like developed over time? I'm wondering.
so I started playing shows at the Horn like 4 years ago, maybe, and I got to know Luke through there. And then at the end of college, I asked my tutor Steph from Lioness,
Yeah.
uh, like what direction I should go in, and he just told me to drop Luke a message and see if he had any jobs
Oh,
going or
okay.
anything. And about a week later, I started working for Juicebox.
Sick.
Yeah, boy.
What was that? What was that? That first role that you were introduced in. So obviously you were passed on from Steph, and then within that week you got a message back. What was that role initially, and like how has it developed since then?
So I started on the door,
Yeah.
just like handing the money and letting people in and all that. And then a few weeks afterwards, I started doing the night managing. I think Paul
Mm.
started training me, and then yeah, since then I've been doing both night managing and the door up
Sick.
until shows stopped.
Nice. Well, yeah, not so nice that the show stopped, but like nice that you managed to get to
Mm,
that point. So
yeah.
what band were you in initially when you so you started 4 years ago? What was that, Visitors, or was that another band?
Uh,
With?
it was. I think the first show I did was with Love Buzz when I was in Love Buzz.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And a couple months later, the Visitors played. I think there was one point where I was literally playing like every 6 weeks in like
Jeez.
2017 at some point.
Was that so who did you have again? You had so you played with so it was Love Buzz for a bit, and
Yeah.
then it was Visitors, and then was it Starlight and then Subside? Obviously Subside is now High Regard, which we'll get into that. But was that the
Um,
order of it, or was there other slots in between, like filling in or whatever?
yeah, there was
You
loads of
played a
stuff.
lot. Yeah.
At the Horn specifically, my old band Defeat Statistics played a couple of times. Then another couple bands that I was in played that I can't remember the name of. Um, then Starlight Arcade's old version called Toto Fainted started playing.
Right.
Then after that, so Defeat Statistics was pretty much most of the Subside lineup.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like
That made way.
continuation of that band in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then when Defeat Statistics stopped, Subside started, and then a couple of years later we started High Regard.
Sick. I just remembered real quick before we bounced into High Regard, because that's like your most active band currently. I just remembered, I believe you had a gig with Don Broco very last minute, right?
Yes.
Chat about that because I'm actually quite. I know the bare bones of it, but I want to know what it's like from someone who's on the bill, their perspective. How did that go down for you? Like, how
it
weird was that?
it was quite funny for us because like the
Yeah,
visitors, I can't remember who the band were, but they pulled out the show
yeah,
like 3 days before the show, I think it was, and we were like, yeah, we'll do it. And then the next day or so, Luke was like, yeah, there's a band doing a Reading and Leeds warm up. Um,
yeah.
just so you're all aware. Then the next day, they announced that it was Don Broco,
Jeez.
and we were like, oh, nice. um, yeah, it was quite like I wouldn't say surreal, but
Yeah,
like weird to have that experience, like meeting them.
yeah.
So probably the most like established professional band I had met at that time. Yeah, I'd say so. I wasn't really a fan of them back then.
Okay.
Like I never really listened to them, but then
Yeah.
seeing them live, I was like, wow, like that's
I bet in a venue where like you know that because they weren't like headlining, they were supporting you guys still,
yeah,
right? And they
they
still
opened
took
the
the.
night and it was
That's so cool.
yeah, it sounded great. The room was packed, everyone was jumping. It was
That's sweet
pretty
though
fun, yeah.
that they took that they still took the like the little slot. They didn't like go for the
Mm.
big one. That's kind as well. Was that like their own choice, or was it just because it was last minute? I'm
I
wondering.
think it was their choice, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, they were just really nice people as well. Like Rob took time
Yeah.
to like shake everyone's hand, introduce himself, get to know everyone. Um, yeah, I had a good chat with Simon as well about his guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Sick. Yeah, that's just. I remember. I think you messaged me, or someone who was close to you messaged me saying, "Oh, Don Broco playing the horn tonight," and I was like,
yeah,
"Nah." And I was listening to Albans. I was like, "Nah." And then I saw the stories later on, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, they are." I totally missed out on seeing Don Broco for
yeah,
a
man. It was
fiver.
like top secret. It was great.
And
I
that
think the
was,
only
yeah.
thing they did was one of them put on their story the little backdrop at the horn.
Oh, mate.
I think that was the only
And
like
that's all they needed
promotion.
to put.
Yeah,
That's all they needed to say. Jeez, man.
like it sold out in like 12 hours or something. Like after
Jesus.
one of the bands mentioned it,
I think I
was
remember
crazy.
seeing a dodgy Twitter screenshot. That's all. It was someone saying Don Broco's at the horn and like 2 likes.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
Jeez, man. And that was with visitors, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, like, moving on from that, my original point, that was just a quick tangent. I had to talk about that because I've always been wondering about that. With High Regard, you guys are a fairly new band. You had your live debut before everything went wrong,
Yeah.
essentially. But you released 2 singles for within lockdown. Both awesome. I had you guys on Rogues FM for Latter, and it was sick. Like, I love you guys. So,
Thank you.
don't worry about it, man. I do. Like, I really, really do. And I'm wondering, with the roles you take in the band, how do you approach them? And like, so what do you do in the band? But also, does it go beyond what you put on stage? I'm wondering.
Yeah, so there's a lot behind
Yeah.
the scenes that we all get up to. Like every band has different
Yeah.
aspects of what people do, but this is the one that I've been most active in, I'd say. Like so, a lot of the writing is done by Georgia, and then she sends it to me. I do
Yeah.
all the little extra like tweaks to make it like
Nice.
sound the best it could for our ears. And then after that, our producer Ryan then takes it a little bit further and makes the song like as good as it gets, really. But I like oversee the pre-production of our like demos, our backing track for our live set as well. I also like do all the video editing alongside Paul. Yeah, but like one big family sort of. So like our manager Paul,
Yeah.
he helps keep us all together. Jack
See,
does artwork and stuff,
I
and
didn't
then
know that Paul was that closely linked to you guys until very recently. I just thought like it was just all banter. I didn't know he was actually like working with you. I think that was so cool as well. Once I
yeah,
found that
yeah.
out, it made sense.
And our guitarist Jack's dad helps out with a lot of things as well. So we've got like little cartoons drawn of us, and he did
Yeah.
them. Like he's a graphic designer. He's really good. Everyone's all closely interlinked, and
That's sick.
it's quite nice, really.
Yeah. Do you with that sort of like community family feel you have with it? And this kind of bleeds into the next question I'm going to ask you, the second to last one. Is it still a lot to juggle with sometimes? Do you still feel like you have to chase after things, whether that be like making sure that the demos are clear enough to hand over to the likes of Ryan or to your bandmates before like really putting it out there in general? Also with like the fact that you work gigs as well and other
Yeah.
bands, how do you juggle all that? Because I was saying to you, and I know what you're going to say because you said it to me before we hit play, but I was saying how like I can get flustered or annoyed or like really just sort of like down in it and not in a good mindset very quickly with a lot of work. But how do
Yeah.
you approach that? Because you do so much, you do it all so well. I'm wondering.
So fortunately, I wouldn't say fortunately, but somewhat fortunately for me, like I was in a lot of bands,
Yeah,
juggling a lot, but now it's really only High Regard that's the focus because
yeah,
yeah, the Visitors, which is now Caretta, we're
yeah.
not really doing anything at the moment. Everyone is off doing their own
Well, yeah, they're all busy
stuff.
people, aren't they? Like they're all
Yeah,
like Alex is sorted.
yeah,
Well,
he's
that's it.
filming for like Duckworth and
Yeah,
on the
man.
tour with Billie Eilish and stuff. Matt's doing a PhD in
Jeez.
animal science or something, and Gavin's off
Nice.
drumming somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah, same with like Starlight and all that.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a nightmare, really,
Yeah.
like sometimes, but luckily it's a lot easier now. It's just one project to focus on. I do sometimes have to chase people up, like
Yeah.
Paul has to chase people up, but that's just because everyone else works and everything. Um, yeah, we're not really. always 100% focused on it because we got all the time in the world to sort things
Yeah,
out at the moment. A lot of the days I wake up and I'm like,
I hope
nah.
so. All the days or a lot of the
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm not really sure I can be bothered to do anything right now. But
Yeah, I
then,
get that.
like as I said earlier, um,
Up
there's other
3 a.m.
days where I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
like blasting tunes through my headphones and stuff.
that's me to
Yeah,
the upteenth there.
but like with like production, mixing, recording, and everything else I
Yeah,
do, they're all like different aspects of like the creative process. When I'm writing music, like it depends what instrument I'm writing for.
yeah,
Like if I was writing a guitar part, I'd usually find inspiration first from like another band's music,
mm,
then learn that song and then completely change it. And then that's how I usually get like a guitar part written. A bass guitar, I usually just go off the root notes of like the chords or whatever.
yeah,
But then if there's anything fancy I can do, usually pop that in. Um, for drums, I love writing drums because
yeah,
I'm very like I wouldn't say technical, but like I've got my music taste so varied that
yeah,
like I take elements from like some pop sort of stuff and put that in like a metal song, or take
yeah,
elements from metal and put that in pop. So that's a lot of what high regards drum parts are. It's like taking a heavier inspiration
mm,
and then putting it into a pop vibe, and you can tell that with the technicality of it
yeah.
all. Like with the production, for me, like this is mainly like backing track stuff and like ear candy, if you know what I
Oh
mean.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All the little swishes and drops and stuff that we
Bleeps
pop
and
in
bloops.
songs. Yeah, like I love doing that sort of stuff. It just makes
Yeah.
things sound cool. But like the mixing, I find it quite hard to mix because
Mm,
like you need to focus a lot
yeah.
and like use your ears, and like it's quite hard for me at least like to focus for like a decent amount of time to get a lot done.
Yeah, I feel that so
Yeah,
hard. Sometimes I can't sit myself down and do the thing, whether that's record a demo or write it.
yeah, yeah.
I get so wondrous sometimes and do other things that just aren't important, but not the thing I want to do even.
Yeah,
Like
I get sidetracked quite a lot.
I
um
find that forcing creativity is quite a good thing for me right now. I don't know about
yeah,
you, but forcing it actually kind of works sometimes.
yeah, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that like when I get home,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I get home and I'm like, nah.
I get home and sit down. I'm like, okay, it's like that classic thing in it where it's like, okay, I'll do it at 3 o'clock. Then it gets to 5 past 3, and you think, oh, okay, I'll do it at 4 o'clock instead. Then suddenly it's 8 o'clock, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
shit,
man,
like, oh
it's
no,
rough.
what do we do? I mean, like, so when you have those moments, I'm wondering when you can sit down and do the work. How many days out of a week would you say you do it? Do you reckon? I mean, like,
It varies, man.
I think I find that it varies for me, and I can have some okay stuff if I do it 5 days, 6 days a week. I'm quite similar to you, but I
Yeah,
find that the best things come to me once every few months, and
yeah,
like I can do it the one time, and it's what I wanted because it's like everything. It feels like it builds up, and it just goes,
yeah.
and it's there. It's all on the table, and it's like it's what I need.
I feel like a lot of the stuff I do, I don't like. Like I'm just like, nah, it's all right, but I wouldn't release it. But then
Yeah,
if Georgia chucks me something and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, I can make it sound great. That's the sort of stuff I'm like, yeah, this is good.
yeah,
Like she sent me, I think it was an 8 bar loop. This is for our next single,
nice.
and
Okay,
about 3 hours later, I was on the phone to Ollie, like guiding him through recording the guitars for it. And
nice.
like literally like a day later, we had a song completed and ready to record.
That's sick. I mean,
Um,
you're all working remotely right now, aren't you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're all like different sides of the world right now. Well, not that far
Not that
from each other,
drastic.
but feels like it.
I think we've all, on a really cringy note to end on, I think we've all kind of learned to adapt to that though. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like we've all kind of had to end up with the reality that like rehearsal rooms right now are probably quite sparse, either hard to
yeah,
book or sometimes you feel like you don't want to do it because of like what's happening. It can be
yeah,
quite
yeah. I'm
hairy,
not.
scary.
We've done one rehearsal and
Yeah, I've done
we've
one.
not gone back. It's just
Yeah.
not really viable for all of us right now, which
Yeah.
is a shame. But hopefully soon we can all get back together.
Yeah. I mean, like, what would be the future plans before we close up? What are the future plans for you right now then, in terms of like mixing or producing or high regard? Like, are you offering any services at this time, or are you just
Um,
purely focusing on something else?
I'm not seeking out clients or anything, but if anyone needed anything done, I'm more than happy to help out.
How do they
Um,
contact you?
yeah.
I'll leave the socials down below.
Just on Instagram, I guess,
Sweet.
at TXM Townsend.
You edgy boy.
Yeah, boy, gotta have that
The X,
X.
gotta have the X. Just real quick before we close up, has there been any new music you've been listening to recently, whether it be like a band or an artist, anything like that, or just a song from an up and coming
um,
artist, local?
yeah. So there's this Australian band called The Dead Love.
Heard
They're
of them, I think.
like a grungy pop punk band.
Yeah.
The singer is a guy called Stevie Knight, who's the like go-to pop punk producer in Australia at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, they're great. Um, and there's a band called Raiders from Wales, who are like a post-hardcore band.
Okay.
They got members from like the Blackout, if you remember them.
I remember them. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. Sean Smith from the Blackout is the vocalist.
Oh,
Yeah,
sick.
I went to see them in I think it was February with Paul and Danny,
Yeah.
and it's like best thing ever.
Seriously.
Yeah, like they're well worth checking out.
Sick.
Yeah,
Lovely.
that's my recommendations for music at the moment.
Beautiful. Right, mate. Thank you very much for hopping on. Very last notice, I'm sure, but
That's
it
all
was
right,
still really
mate.
beautiful. Sorry that I word flabber a lot, but yeah, man. Like, thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope to see you soon.
No worries, mate. Hope to see you too.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Words.
Right. Take it easy, geezer.
Love you.
Bye bye,
Mwah.
baby. Mwah.